Hello, everybody, and thank you for letting me be here. Very generous introduction. Can you hear me? Is this good enough? Okay, great. And if you want to check any of those facts, there is a website, www.factcheck. You can check those things out. That's me. That's Jeff, who will come up here in a little while when we get to the video part of this. And I want to talk today a little bit about digital marketing. And I don't want you to get caught up. There's a lot about technology. There's a lot about this new app. There's a lot about this fancy way to do things. And I want you to keep in mind that digital marketing is just plain old marketing with an adjective in front of it, okay? It's still about talking with people and communicating with people and listening with people. We just have some new tools out there that help us do that better. Online marketing is one of the first forms of marketing we have today that really allows us to have a two-way conversation, okay? And that's one of the most important things to take away from here. Gives you an opportunity to tell your story, gives you an opportunity to find out if anybody's listening. You know, those things that are called shares and likes and comments, that's someone telling you that they're actually listening to you and they probably like what you have to say. You can't get that from a billboard, okay? You can't get that from a piece of print ad in most cases. You don't know if people are reading it. You don't know if people are seeing it on I-5. It also lets you touch people that you may not be able to touch. We'll talk a little bit later about how the sales funnel has changed because of digital marketing, but there's a lot of people out there using traditional marketing methods that you will never get yourself in front of, and digital marketing, online marketing, and social media will let you do that. And finally, what's most important is using social media and online marketing is going to teach you to be a better listener. Because you know what? If you're putting something out there on the internet and it's not getting shared, it's not getting liked, it's not getting clicked on, it's not getting commented on, you know that they don't like what you have to say, and you need to be listening to their actions so that you have an opportunity to provide a two-way street so they can tell you what it is they really want you to be talking about. One of the most difficult things that people in service, sales-type professions always face is that ability to decide, am I the brand or is the business the brand? And how do I handle that? Because you know what? You might be Joe Smith, and it's Joe Smith Realtors, or you might be Joe Smith of Acme Realty, Consulting, Investing, something or other. And it's really difficult, and this is one of the biggest challenges when you're talking about your brand is figuring out, how do I balance that? Okay? Now, I wanted to preface this with a little bit. I'm shoving 5 days worth of stuff into about 30 minutes, so I'm not going to answer that question for you. Okay, but it's one of the most important things because, as this quote says, you can't go north and south at the same time. So early on, or wherever you are in your process of branding, you need to sit down and have a serious conversation about how much do I spend on branding myself, how much do I spend on branding the company, where's the balance, and which is the right direction to head. You know, there's a saying, when you come to a fork in the road, take it. Okay, that's one of the things you have to do. There's no right or wrong about how much mix your branding is between you and your business and you as an individual, but it's something you have to sit down and you have to address. I talked a little bit earlier about people do business with people, okay? The most important thing, if you leave with nothing today, is remember that you're doing business with people when you're out on the internet, when people are engaging with you on the website, when people are liking you on a Facebook page, or they're responding to an online ad, or they're commenting on a blog post. You're engaging with people. It's a great chance for you to tell your story. It's one of the best methods we've seen today to tell a story. You can do it without a great expenditure, and you can reach a lot of people. One of the things I want you to do is I want you to go in and I want you to evaluate your website, okay? The first thing you should be doing is looking at your website and is it doing what it needs to be doing, okay? Before you start playing with Facebook, before you start worrying about online video, before you do anything else, does your website, does it work? And the reason I say this is that there are a lot of great websites out there that have been developed by web developers and graphic designers that don't have any sales experience. So if your website's not converting for you, if it's not generating bottom line revenue, take a look at it, figure out how to get that fixed. The next thing I want you to do, another suggestion, is I want you to take another look at email. Okay, email marketing gets a bad name, but email marketing still converts better than anything else out there. I also, if you're going to get onto the social world, I would urge you to go first and foremost to LinkedIn, and we'll talk more about that later. And finally, then pick a second channel, okay? Fix your website, okay? Take a look at email and email marketing and remarketing on email. Third, make sure your profile on LinkedIn is doing what it should do, and then move on to that fourth channel. So I want to tell you a little bit about how the world works today, okay? Someone doesn't know you. You're an unknown. They go and they say, I need a commercial real estate broker in a town. They Google that. A bunch of things come up. Those are search results. We all call those search results. That's not what they really are. They're mini advertisements, okay? Because those little tiny search snippets are making you decide, who am I going to click on and who am I not going to click on? And that's called the SEO title on the top and some metadata at the bottom. So when you look at your search results, no matter what you're looking for a Boston Terrier, the search result that resonates the most is the one you're going to click on, okay? Once a person clicks on that search result, you have 2.6 seconds for them to make a decision if they went to the right place. I mean, they have 2.6 seconds to decide if they went to the right place or not. How many of you are guilty of going to a search thing, clicking on something, saying, that's not what I need, back arrow. Going to the next one, that's not what I need, back arrow. Going to the next search result, saying, okay, I like that, okay? You got 2.6 seconds when a person sees your website to decide if they've found what they are looking for. After that, you get about 10 seconds. And in 10 seconds, once they elect to stay, once they think, okay, this website might have an answer for me, they're going to be saying, who are you? What do you do? How do you do it? What kind of a company is this like? And they make those decisions in 10 seconds. Okay, so I cannot stress the importance to go back and relook at your websites as if you don't know yourself or have someone that doesn't know anything about you look at it. And if they can't tell you in 10 seconds, if they can't answer these 5 questions, there's work to be done. This slide kind of speaks for itself. I talk a lot about email marketing. People don't think about email marketing as digital marketing because it's been around so long, but it really is. Okay, people have been talking about the death of email marketing, just like Jason Bourne about dies 220 times in each movie. Okay, and yet he still comes back. He goes off the building into the water, and then 3 years later there's a sequel. Okay, email marketing is still very, very important, and if you've gotten away from that or you don't believe in it or you aren't doing it or you're not doing it right, I would invite you to take a second look at that area. And I'm going to use a couple quotes here. Ben Settle is one of the big-time direct marketing guys out there. I mean, he gets millions of visitors to his website, and he's pretty much a thought leader. And he's been asked, you know, with all this social media stuff going on, why do I still need digital marketing? I mean, why do I still need email? And his reply is real interesting because he talks about what a lot of people have done. A lot of people abandoned email marketing as part of their digital marketing strategy, thinking that they could offset it with social media. But I've got a little secret for you. Anybody in here closed a deal using Facebook? Actually closed the deal on Facebook, other than Nick, who's excellent, okay? You close your deals in talking with a person, you get them closer to it. Once they find you, they move them through email. So social media per se, like Facebook, LinkedIn, those are not necessarily the final channel you use to close a deal. So I want you to think about what every tool out there is for and what a Facebook or a LinkedIn profile or a or a YouTube video or a YouTube channel or something is for. And they're all great tools, and you need to have all those tools in your quiver. But keep in mind that certain tools work better for certain purposes, and a hammer is still the best tool to drive a nail into the wall with. Everybody knows about the sales funnel. A lot of people don't know that it actually came around in about 1889 by a guy whose last name was St. Elmo's. Okay, so we're always wondering why it isn't called St. Elmo's funnel, but it isn't. But the old sales funnel has changed, and I want to take a minute to go through this. In the new digital sales funnel, people are completely unaware you exist, okay? They don't know about you, all right? They find you how? Through Google search. Before you show up on a Google search page, they may not know who you are. So your sales funnel starts further out. And the first step someone comes into contact with you is you're unknown and you show up on a Google search page, okay? The second step that happens here is, and that's where that 2.6 seconds comes into play when they're on that Google search result page or Yahoo or Bing or whatever, however they're finding you. You've got about 2.6 seconds to hook them enough to get them to your website. And then in the 10 seconds starts to happen attraction. Are they attracted to you? Do they like what they see? Do they think you can do what they need you to do? Are you the solution to their problem? Okay? So we got about 12 and a half seconds that just went through, and we got through 2 stages of the sales funnel. Big part of that funnel. The third is permission. Okay? At some point in the relationship, after this point, You want them to they're going to give you permission to engage with them. And how do you give a person permission in digital media? They click on a contact us button. They find your phone number and they call you, okay? Or they sign up for your email newsletter, or they like you on Facebook. What they do is they're actually giving you permission at that point in the sales process for you to then engage them. Up until that point, you don't know who they are. Okay? But when they give you permission, that has now moved the marker a little bit farther down, and they're saying, hey, you know what? I want you to reach out to me. I want you to contact me. I like what you have to say. It's okay to keep sending me some of this stuff. Send me your email. Call me back, whatever it is. So the sales funnel has changed a little from what you guys are used to. And then somewhere down the line, after that permission-based opportunity occurs, then you get to conversion. And not everybody converts. So the funnel starts very big in this process, and part of it slopes very fast, and then you get that permission, and then that permission part of your funnel is very, very long, and then eventually you spit out a sale at the bottom of it, okay? You convert. You make something happen. So the sales funnel is different today because of digital media than a lot of us were brought up believing it to be. So we were going to talk a little bit about email. Why use email? When I'm talking about email, I'm not talking about me emailing Matthew and saying, hey, Matthew, let's have lunch or something. I'm talking about using email as a marketing tool, okay? And looking and using it either through a newsletter, using it to market to people that you might have collected email addresses from. I'm talking about it as a marketing tool. And what do you do with email then? Well, email is visible, okay? You don't know if someone's seeing your ad on Facebook. You don't know if someone's seeing your profile on LinkedIn. You don't necessarily know. You know a certain percentage of them can because of the SEO analytics, but you don't know for sure that you're getting in front of someone. When you send an email, 99% of the time you're going to end up in their inbox. Doesn't mean they're going to open it, but it means they're going to see it. Okay, so already there is a small little brand impression at that point, even if they don't open it the first time you send them something. Secondly, email is more intimate, okay? You can tailor email to certain groups. If you do a good job in your list building, you can have your list built out to people that like a certain type of investment, or people that are looking for a certain type of investment, or people that are looking for information. And so you can be more intimate in that way. You can also, of course, personalize it so you can use their first name. It's real hard to personalize an ad on social media so that it says, hey, Bob, good to see you. Hey, come over here. I want to sell you something. The other thing is that email still is the number one way. Email marketing still is the best way to drive sales. Okay, don't let anybody tell you it isn't. All right. Nick.
I read a book recently about book marketing that was saying that call to action sales is 40 times more effective than social.
Absolutely. Yeah, the numbers are out there all around, but a call to action in email. If you open the email, okay, you're probably going to click again, okay? The odds are just there. So if you get a 70% open rate on your email, you're probably going to get 20, 30% of that on a click-through rate. Versus if you see a little Facebook ad that has a little buy now or learn more button in the corner, you took no action. And you all know that once a person takes the first step towards a journey, they tend to continue on that journey. That's why emails convert so much better on getting someone to click through. Email's fun. You can have a lot of fun with email. You can send one email out that's a plain text. You can send an HTML. You can link to a video. You can do a lot of things with it. And it's very adaptable. And this is a point where you can link to videos. So you can send an email saying, hey, you know what? I just tossed this great thing up on my YouTube channel. Don't miss it. Here's a link to it. Okay? Being social. So now we move through. We've talked a little bit about the website, which we could go on for hours about. I've tried to drive home the importance of email marketing, and now we get to social media, which is the sexy part of the talk, or so. And this is very important. I don't think I can really say much more than what this quote says. Social media is about people. It's not about your business, okay? It's called social media for a reason. So it's a chance for people to get to know you. And let's face it, people do business with people. So that's something very important in here. You know what? If you do two separate Facebook ads and one's just about a listing and maybe one's a little bit more into the human side and it's got a little bit of softer touch, you're going to get probably better results on the softer touch human one than you are on the one that's just the plain old looks like a listing. And when you're talking about people and you're talking to people and people are listening to you, this is how you start to become an SME, how you start to become a subject matter expert, okay? Because the more people that are listening to you and the more people that are engaging with you and the more people that are talking with you and the dialogue is going back and forth, as that number goes up, your impression out there on the internet goes up and you start to become to look a little more important time over time over time. So engagement breeds more engagement. It also builds authority, and authority is very important in the social media world. So what's the most important social media channel? Okay. Now, I'm going to say B2B, and B2B can be an individual to an individual doing a business transaction as opposed to a B2C. And think about sales as they go from transactional on one side all the way to very consultative on the other. So a transactional sale is me buying a pair of Ray-Bans, okay? I'm never going back to that site probably. I bought the Ray-Bans, they shipped to me, I'm done. It's a one and done, I'm gone. So that's a business to consumer type of a transaction. So you guys are all doing, every one of you are doing B2B sales, even if it's just a one-person shop talking to a single person, it's still a B2B sales. And LinkedIn slightly edges out Facebook. Now, it's important to think there's like 1 billion plus people on Facebook and there's like 200 million active users on LinkedIn. So the intensity is very strong to use LinkedIn. Facebook is 31, Twitter comes in at number 3, and so, if you're not optimizing your LinkedIn profile, you're missing an opportunity. And I'm going to give you 5 tips, okay? I'm going to leave you with something here that maybe you walk away with one nugget of something that will really help you. First and foremost, build a deep and wide network. And I'm going to tell you why that's important. A lot of times I see people that will say, oh, this person wanted to hook up with me on LinkedIn, but I don't see how they can add any value to me, and so I'm not going to accept their request. Okay? I launched a startup business 1.5 years ago that required that I import hub motors out of China. And although I was a buyer for Macy's, Target, and Montgomery Ward for years and imported millions of dollars, I had an import company to do. I had an import agency and an import department that did that for me. So I knew very little about how do I import $10,000 worth of hub motors. So I went into my LinkedIn group, which are my LinkedIn people, who I have about 3,000, and I did a little quick search, and lo and behold, I had someone at first level, and guess what that guy does? That guy is the United States Chamber of Commerce representative located in Shanghai, China, which just happened to be where my imports was coming. So I could reach out to this first level connection, which I'm not even sure how I got, but he probably invited, or I invited somehow years ago, and we connected. And he said, oh, yeah, I can help you out. He sent me a list of 10 different import agents, and he said, we're not allowed to recommend any of them, but I hear Coopersmith's really good. And that's who I went with. Okay, so here's someone that if I were one of those pessimistic people and said, how would I ever get value out of someone that's a United States Chamber of Commerce representative in Shanghai, I didn't know at the time, but he became very valuable to me later. The next thing is optimize LinkedIn for lead generation, and that means use LinkedIn for what it was designed to be. It's a networking site. Network. Be active on it. Be commenting. Make sure you're being seen. That's going to generate leads for you. People will find you. The more active you're on LinkedIn, the more you come up in LinkedIn return results, okay? It's a funny little thing. The more you do on LinkedIn, when someone goes out there and searches for a commercial real estate broker, the higher you'll come up in the return rates, okay?
So Brad,
Yeah.
I always sort of look at it, if you didn't know that person, you didn't really want to accept the invite, you're not saying that.
When LinkedIn originally launched, that was the whole concept. Be afraid of not inviting people you don't know, okay? And it used to be that you got dinged. And I mean, I had my LinkedIn privileges revoked several times because I kept inviting people I didn't know back in the old days. That's really kind of gone away now because you don't know if the person that you don't know that invited you because his brother-in-law has got 4 warehouses he needs to sell or something. You know, you never know, okay? So I'm much more of an open networker. And I don't fear too much, and I'll tell you that the positives of being an open networker have been much stronger than the other. I don't accept invitations from people that have 0 friends, okay? Or from very attractive women in, some third world country. As much as I'd like to, I just don't do that. I want you to be consistently visible and valuable. So make sure when you're on LinkedIn and you're commenting, your comments aren't just, hey, I do this. Your comments are adding value to the conversation that's happening there, okay? And that helps you become more of a subject matter expert on the site. The other thing I want to talk to you about is participate in LinkedIn groups, Or better yet, start one. Okay? And I'm going to give you another little quick story about that. I have a client called Row & Co. that is a recruiting company based in Australia and Great Britain. They recruit in a very specialized area, which is centrifugal and mechanical pumps in the petrochemical world and a lot of stuff in fracking. Not my favorite client from an environmental perspective, but I like the people. And they started a LinkedIn group a couple years ago to group these engineers into, and weren't doing much when I first started with them. I said, let's really start to focus on your LinkedIn group. Now when we go to their website, which is generating about 3,000 unique hits a month for them, in a very small niche, about 33% of that traffic is coming from Google search results, and 32% of that traffic is coming from the LinkedIn group. So a LinkedIn group is almost becoming as important as search for them right now. And finally, optimize your reputation. If you look at a lot of LinkedIn profiles, they're what I call tombstone profiles. This is what I did, okay? This is what I've done, okay? That's what we call in the recruiting world a tombstone resume or a tombstone profile. People aren't interested as much as what you did. If they're on there looking at you and you've established some credibility, they really want to know what can you do for them, okay? And that means having current engaging activity on there. So, rich content. LinkedIn is a tremendous platform to have videos show up as opposed to a summary of who you are. Lead off with a couple of great videos of what you're doing today or what you just got done doing or something. Okay, SlideShare is a great tool out there. You can take a PowerPoint presentation, convert it to SlideShare. LinkedIn owns SlideShare. So you can put a wonderful SlideShare PowerPoint presentation up on LinkedIn. Jeff is going to talk a lot more about using videos in that case. If you do podcasts, if you're going to have a book, anybody in here writing a book? Yeah. Books, short books, ebooks, downloadable books, that kind of content. What I would say is do what others in your space are not doing so that you stand out. And I want to talk real quickly in closing, and then I'm going to turn it over to Jeff, is I went over this really quickly, okay? Any single one of these subjects we could dig down into for hours and hours and hours. But if you take a good look at your website, and remember, you've got 10, 12, 15 seconds for a person to figure out if they want to do business with you, first and foremost. Secondly, start to think about using some email marketing. Get started in a small way. You can set up on MailChimp or Mad Mimi or some of these things very simply and inexpensively, free for under like 2,000 or 5,000 people in a mailing list. And three, optimize your LinkedIn profile. You will be far ahead of most people in most industries. Jeff? Jeff's going to talk to you about video. Thanks a lot. And we're going to take a lot of questions afterwards, okay?
Everyone, yes, as Brad mentioned, we're going to leave lots of room at the end because there are lots of questions when it comes to social media, marketing, LinkedIn, how many times should I post, what's the best time to post, who sees my posts. But hey, everyone, my name is Jeff Silverman. Started Silverman Studios about 6 years ago now, after a career in radio advertising. So as I like what Brad said in that a lot of people building your website are designers, and a lot of video people and photography people are artists. I came to this profession as a marketer, and I asked myself, how could I make my clients' videos work for them and see results? And so I started Silverman Studios, and I really love what I do. But video is hot right now. As you probably all know, we're all multitasking, aren't we, when we're watching TV? We have our iPad or our phone there, and as the ad comes on, we're checking it out, and we're multitasking. People are watching video on their mobile all the time. So YouTube, I don't have to go into the amount of traffic, but some of these statistics are amazing. As you all know, Google and YouTube are now the same company. So the same keywords that help people find you on Google are now the same keywords that you should be putting in your video keyword categories. And so they work interconnectedly like that, Google and YouTube. 1/3 of all activity online is video watching. And video increases your understanding of a company by 74%. And also another really cool statistic, people would much rather, as you know, watch a video on your homepage of your website than read a whole bunch of paragraphs. If they can click play, you can get their attention in the first 5 seconds of how you're going to solve their problem. You've got a real good chance of doing business and keeping them on your website for a longer time than you would just text. Okay. SEO matters. As I just mentioned, Google loves video. Websites with video tend to get about 50 times more first page Google rankings. And then also 50% of YouTube traffic is on mobile. As I was here in the meeting this morning, I popped on my smartphone because I wanted to get an idea of how the Portland market was shaping for commercial real estate agents. And there's not a lot of competition in your categories regarding video. A lot of it came out to the other Portland on the East Coast. So there is a huge open field for you folks to start building your brand with video. Some real estate facts video-wise, about 403% increase for real estate people who are using videos. So huge number there. Real estate professionals get 2 times the amount of leads using YouTube compared to Twitter. So real estate, a great use of showing your properties. I mean, with drones these days and being able to fly over a potential property, that's powerful. I mean, if you could show a buyer, hey, we just did this new drone shot of the property you're looking at here in Oregon, and just click the play button, and you'll see what's in the surrounding areas. That's pretty powerful. I don't fly drones because I crash them, but I hire very good, skilled drone operators. How many people got a drone for Christmas? And I was talking to another guy who also was droning. How many crashes have you had thus far?
I'm on my second 350QX, which is about a $500 helicopter.
Yeah, okay.
And after my first one, I bought a training helicopter that was $74.
There you go. So it takes a long time to get good at flying well and not killing people and not crashing. And as you know, there's a lot of legality in drone use that I don't have a lot of answers on, but I know there are some permits that you should get before droning and doing aerial photography. Video can seem like just another challenge to overcome, but I see a major increase in my business and brand awareness using video. I hear this from my clients all the time, that people go to my website, they get a incredible first impression of you. So instead of getting on the phone saying, can we meet? I'd really like to see you face to face. When they press play on the video that's sitting on your website, the right video, and I'll get into this in a second, the right video can give them a little great first impression and have them meet you in a really authentic style. And that's the key. If your video looks like another TV commercial with a voiceover, that's not authentic. That's not getting to meet you in a really unscripted style. And that's what I specialize in, is helping you feel comfortable in front of a camera, which is really hard. A lot of people are great when they're talking to a friend and they're talking, but when that camera and the lights show up, it gets intimidating and you forget, what am I going to say? And so I specialize in helping people pre-shoot. What are we going to talk about? How are we going to get your message across? So we'll get to that in a second, and the different styles of videos that there are for commercial real estate people. And here they are. So The first style of video that I see and I produce all the time with some folks like Zillow is agent profiles, a quick 2-minute video, try to stay under 2 minutes, about you, your practice, your philosophy, how long you've been doing business, your history, and then how you serve your clients, and maybe a different approach in your business. So an agent profile would sit on your website, and that would also sit on your LinkedIn page. That would also be hosted on YouTube with correct keywords of your name, your business name, the locations that you serve. Company promos. The other type of videos that I produce are company promos about our company, why you should be doing business with our company. Include a few testimonials in that video of people who've used you. Again, these are all unscripted. They're people sharing their experience using your services. Testimonials, again, are powerful. I mean, we could talk all day about our business, how great we are. When you hear it from somebody else in a really authentic style, it clicks. There's something about testimonial videos. Property overviews and aerials is something I do as well and offer to agents. A property overview would be a walkthrough, a property. Would be perhaps some voiceover or text explaining what we're looking at on screen. And an aerial, of course, would be a drone or a airplane. I got over my fear of flying this past summer in a small airplane filming over Corvallis and Oregon State and Mary's Peak, and I didn't die. Here's another great way to build your brand, and this is for the very brave video people, is you become the thought leader in your field, and you produce a lot of videos, and you produce videos about how to choose the right CCIM, how to bargain with someone and negotiate, you become the thought leader. So creating a series of how-to videos is really powerful to build your brand online, and people could subscribe to that, and monthly videos, quarterly videos, talking about different topics. And let's watch a video. There's a little demo reel overviewing all the things, or I should say most of the things I just covered.
I really enjoy selling real estate in the Pacific Northwest.
I'm very passionate about helping people.
I like making them happy. That is really important to me.
Aside from having sold real estate for a long time in Portland, I'm also from here, so I understand how the city has changed.
I have a lot of expertise in sales and marketing, almost 25 years of experience, so I understand how to match the benefits to the customer, basically put buyers and sellers together.
When we understand who our clients are, it gives us the ability to truly help them reach their goals.
The most unique thing about us is that we're able to serve our clients more personally.
We share the honest truth. We never go for the soft sell. We never do something that's going to sacrifice our integrity in the transaction.
I really want to make sure that I'm hearing everything that they're saying, and that way I can deliver on what we promise, which is really an exceptional service experience.
When clients do contact me, they get me directly. I do a lot of transactions, but I don't take so many that I can't give the level of service that is most important for me to provide.
There's really three things to focus on when you're selling a property: the price, the exposure, and the presentation. And we do a lot of analyzing of the market to try to get the right price to our clients, to make sure that they're not overpricing or underpricing, because that's very important.
So those were examples of unscripted videos. Every person being interviewed wasn't working with a script. They're all working with some talking points, working with me interviewing them, and we do a lot of editing to edit it down into a 2-minute fabulous video of your best takes. So 3 tips using video. YouTube's the place to start for the searchability and the Google connectedness of it. Once your video is hosted on YouTube and you start a YouTube channel for your company, from there, it can be linked and embedded on every platform. So that's the great place to start. Brad's tip for adding YouTube to various sections of your LinkedIn presence. And I don't know a ton about that, but talk to Brad about where that actually shows up on your LinkedIn portfolio and agent video on your agent page or on your personal page on LinkedIn, and then a company video on your company page of LinkedIn. Google Hangouts. This is a great place for people who love to set up their webcam and invite people to your Hangout. It's totally free. Anyone can do it. I think you could even do it with your smartphone if you wanted to. But this is a great way to build your online presence using Google Hangouts, talking about certain topics. You could bring in slideshows, and this can be done in your office. But building your brand through lots of videos, people believe that you are the thought leader in your area, and this is a great way to share that. Brad's tip, use Hangouts to conduct live webinars, Q&As from people watching. And once the video is recorded, you could repurpose it next year. Hey, next year, did you guys catch the video I did on proper pricing I did last year? Here it is again on my YouTube channel. So that's a great way to repurpose video. And the last tip is Facebook. For those of us on Facebook, I did have had sales on Facebook, by the way, Brad. But incorporating, oh, did I not? Okay. Facebook. Facebook allows direct uploads to its server, and people click the HD button. You guys probably see this if you're on Facebook on your feed. You press the HD button and it plays in HD, and it gets a little bit more visibility when you have it on your feed as opposed to linking it from your YouTube channel. So there's a great place to upload your Facebook videos, especially on your business page, right? Not your personal page, although for me, I mix both because Facebook does limit the amount of business pages now. And statistically, did you know that only 9% of people, of your friends on Facebook, see your posts? And so that means reposting your video next week at a different time. In case you missed our video, a new promo video last week, or in case you need to learn a little bit more about my company, hit those other 90% of people who were working during the day. Yes?
Do you mean that with a business page or with your
Personal. That's the statistic I heard for the personal feed, that only 9% of your friends are actually seeing your posts. But a business, it's even less. So Facebook has restricted business use. They want to encourage people to purchase advertising, which is a great idea. I mean, a big video player shows up on your feed. It does say sponsored, but that's a great way to advertise your business. And I think that's it. One more tip from Brad. People love businesses that are involved in their community. Show how you help your community through service donations and bringing awareness to important issues. So Facebook could be great for that. Hey, check out our business. We sponsored the 5K run to help veterans. And here's the video from the event that we were pleased to sponsor. So community events, cause-related marketing. And I think that's it. We wanted to leave lots of time for questions. So Brad, thank you very much for having us today, and we're glad to be Power Partners.
Questions?
So, I've gotten into the habit of using Bing. Is that different than Google? I mean, I've never really compared the two in terms of how search results work on them.
Bing is another search engine. We didn't talk a lot about local search, which you need to be optimized for local search, which is important. most people optimize for local search on Google, they forget about Bing. Bing also drives Yahoo search, okay? So although Google is the 800-pound gorilla, between Bing and Yahoo search, you've got another 200-pound gorilla lurking around in there as well. So you should be looking at both of those. Just be aware that, you know, Bing and Yahoo are not words in the English dictionary, and Google is now. So that gives you an idea. Keep in mind also that YouTube is the second largest search engine out there, and it's owned by Google. So, and it's also, but on the flip side, if someone's buying a Microsoft computer and they're not real computer savvy, Microsoft ships with Internet Explorer, and Internet Explorer's default search engine is Bing. Okay, so there's always a place to get a lift from. So, good question. Nick.
I'm really digging the instructional video. This is probably a very granular technical question, but is there a way in YouTube to block it from going outside your channel, or you can go to the next video of your channel, for that feed?
Yeah, you can. You can have a private channel. You can limit access to YouTube videos. You can also, once you have a channel, there is. It's not so much when they go to the YouTube channel, they're going to see your YouTube videos. Okay, if you're linking to a video, there's code you can put after that so that it will stop that. It'll stop it at the end of that video and not show all the suggested videos of other people's commercial real estate or instructional videos. That code changes quite a bit. Usually, if you Google it, usually search engine something or other.com is one that almost always has a page where they update it. You can bookmark that page and it's always updated. But there is code you can put at the end of it looks like a tracking code at the end of the YouTube video. No.
Well, I was going to say, Nick, I think there is a tab you click that says "Do not show competing ads" at the end of the video roll.
Yeah, that one there.
That's what you were-
But if you're embedding it, sometimes you're still going to have to take your embed code and add to the back of the embed code. Other questions? Yes. Well, I'm not saying get email addresses. You don't want to get an email. You don't want to buy a list. Okay? You want to start collecting email addresses every way, shape, and form you can, and that means giving people opportunities to raise their hand and say, "I give you permission to talk with me. I want you to talk with me." That's what a sign-up is on a website or any place else. It's someone saying, "I like what I've seen about you, and I'm giving you permission to continue to send me more of that because I'm not going to remember to come back to your site all the time." So some of the ones that are out there that are very easy to use, that are free to start, MailChimp is probably the best as far as I'm concerned. But there's Aweber, there's MailChimp, there's MadMimi, there's Constant Contact. There's a lot of them out there. Nick?
We're looking at adding a pop-up to ask for emails, and I've heard that it's going on delay. Is that something that's built? Is that built into the WordPress?
It is, but there's actually a new plugin that's free right now, and the name is escaping me, but it's a lead plugin, and what it actually does is, you have a WordPress site? Okay, this plugin actually, once a person inputs some information on your website, this plugin actually will tell you every time going forward when they're on your site and what they've done. And in fact, the first time that they do it, well, the first time I installed this and watched it, I got this little report in an email, and it said so-and-so had been on this page, this page, this page, this page, this page, and then they filled out my email, add me to email. So I don't know much about them, but I could see that they went from the home page to the about page to the resources page, back to the about page, back to the resources page, and then back to the contact page. So I now know that person was kind of snooping around, seeing it where they seeing what they like. That plugin, and I'll get you the name for it. I'm going to post this. I'm going to give this, put this as a PDF, and I'm going to post it with some resource, give it some resource links, and give it to them to post out there so everybody can get both this, the video, and some of these resource links. But that's a very simple plugin. Two guys are running it, Nathan and some other guy. You know, that's just going on. But it has these pop-ups that will come up at a certain time, so you can time that. So if you've been on the home page like 12 seconds or 15 seconds or something, a little box will rise up. It'll say, if you like what you see, sign up for our email. That can be integrated with almost any email program. So it's just using an API link, and I don't want to get technical, but it just means letting MailChimp talk to that plugin and let that plugin talk to that. Now, there are some other pretty interesting plugins to that extent that are coming around. There are ones now that people can leave you a voicemail, people that can ask you a question. These are just pop-ups. And with people now doing 50% of it on the phone, these things come up as a button. They don't want to type in. If they're on their phone, if they're on a mobile site, hopefully they're not driving, but they probably are. They're walking at least, we know that. But you don't want to try to type in on your phone, so you press that button, you could say, hey, Nick, I was on your website and I have a question about this or that. And they can leave you a voicemail through your website. How powerful is that? And that's cheap. I think it's like $12 a month to get started. Other questions? Yes?
How often do you need to update information? Like, how frequently does it need to change?
What kind of information are you talking about?
It could be your profile, just your, it's a interview video. Or it could be, let's say you put some market data, can you do it annually, you have to do it quarterly?
Well, the big question that kind of comes to is the big question is content is king today, okay? So having content on your website, on your profile, whatever is king. The next step is being relevant, okay? So the second part of that, relevancy is queen today. So is it back, is it a year old? Is it current? Some content, if it's an annual report, you're only going to update it once a year unless you have some updates to it. Some other content you might want to update more frequently. I would say if you're not looking at your LinkedIn profile once a month and doing something on there, okay, you're not managing your LinkedIn profile enough. So that would mean maybe you've created a new PowerPoint presentation or the old one's getting stale. You can look, the great thing about even LinkedIn is their analytics. You can see who's looking at what on your profile. So you can look and say, oh, when I first loaded this thing up, I get a lot of hits. I did a presentation to the Coloma Chamber of Commerce 2.5 years ago down in California. It's where the gold rush started. And I always keep getting ready to pull it down, and I keep looking at the hits, and it's still one of my highest downloaded presentations. So I keep it up there, but it's 2.5 years old. I finally changed the date on it just so I didn't look so bad. But that's a great point. You should, and the other thing is, I'm going to go back to content. Everybody's worried about how do I get content? Because the content's the king, but everyone thinks it has to be original content. It doesn't today. You're going to hear two words called content curation, okay? Someone out there is creating perfectly good content for you to use. As long as you give them attribution, and note that it came from this place or that place, or maybe you give a link to their website or something, that content's perfectly free to use. Okay, so if it's a great article, there's no reason you can't write a paragraph on your blog saying why you think it's a great article, and then pull a quote out of the article and say this was written by Tommy and posted on your blog, and now you've created content. It's going to be a different audience because the people that are reading his blog probably aren't reading yours. Yeah.
With video being so powerful these days, I've seen some websites where they'll lightbox a video on the homepage, or it's kind of the start page, really. What do you guys think about that? Like maybe lightboxing the video over the front of your homepage, kind of maybe go intro.
Well, we'll get Jeff's opinion first.
I was just going to say some people get really annoyed by autoplay videos, right? So I would give them the choice to hit play first, especially if your speakers are on jacked up and you're at work, right? And you come to a website and everybody in the office is like, ooh, what's going on? So, but I like the lightbox thing where, yeah, click here to see us in action. Click here to meet me. Yeah.
For you that don't know, a light box is when you normally pull up a website, there's a little video screen, it's either a black box or it's got a picture. Someone was smart enough to actually make sure there's a picture showing in it. But a light box expands, so when you click on it, it comes up and it kind of fades out everything and the rest, so you're focusing just on that video. And it feels almost three-dimensional, and it's coming towards you a little bit. That's a great thing. Again, I don't like autoplay videos at all. The people that use autoplay videos are typically these people that are out there trying to build as big a list as possible with emails, and then they're going to remarket, and they're selling something, okay, that, it's a very transactional type sale. So I think I would be very careful with that. Yeah. Now, I will tell you this. You can if you've got a website, you've got a web developer that's pretty good, he can make sure that when you're on a mobile responsive device it autoplays, and when you're on a PC it doesn't. Because your website knows when you're on a laptop versus a desktop versus a mobile device versus a tablet versus a mobile device. And so it can render up and it can auto start that video on a mobile device, which might make complete sense. Okay, so you don't have to try to figure out where you hit that little tiny play arrow in the corner. So it might make sense to have it autoplay on a mobile device and have it be static on a desktop or a laptop. Anything else? Other questions? Burning desires about anything on website, social media, or anything? Great. Thank you very much.